when you moved on and then you were listed in that scurrilous publication, Red Channels, and the movie career dried up, you started a second career, Marsha, with the UN, when the UN was a very idealistic, new organization. And talk a little bit about your work with the UN and how meaningful that was for not only you, but so many other people.
In some ways, it was, I guess, the happiest time of my life. And I can say that as a dedicated actress who loved every minute of acting. But Robert and I went around the world in 1955 and came back, at least I did, a different person. I've been brought up to be a good American and to choke up over the Star-Spangled Banner and saluting the flag and all that. But I came back from going around this globe a planet patriot. I understood that we are all one, with many flavors and every kind of variety to that, but we are one people. And I had that sense of commonality. I think the more of us who will understand that, the greater the hope of finally achieving peace. It is man's, and I say man's, not woman's, timeless folly. Disease is war. We've got to get over that. It's madness. Well, but I got a great privilege of being shown through mutual friends. I met the man who was in charge of all communications at the United Nations. He was an engineer, a Pole. He had designed the building, well, never mind. A brilliant man named Joseph Nichols. And he took me on a tour, a personal, private tour throughout the UN during the summer when everybody was back home at their own home countries. And it was, this private tour gave me such a sense of revelation of this oneness. And I came aboard. I simply signed on as part of this goal to bring all of the peoples together in the hope of peace and progress that was together. It's been the most joyous work because there's no enemy except war. But I'm not mad at anybody, at any country, any people. Just let there be peace. And by the way, I got to work for all of the agencies when I learned that the UN, 85% of the United Nations time, budget, and personnel is its agencies. And people say, agencies? What agencies? Or maybe they've heard of UNICEF because of the Christmas cards and children. But they are the great work of the UN, rarely mentioned, and this is where all the peoples are coming together in every phase of the human effort and condition to improve matters and do things together better. And it's been such joyous work with the World Health Department and food and agriculture. And during the World Food Crisis, I then became a part of the American Freedom from Hunger Foundation as part of the world's Freedom from Hunger campaign, which you may never have heard about, but it did a lot of good, helping hungry countries learn how to feed themselves better. It's a long, long story, and this is a long, long talk, but what a lovely, lovely time the UN has given me, and it's not over.
Let's take it right back to Hollywood before we wrap up. Of the many times I always thought your house, where Marsha has lived in the valley since 1946, with the tennis courts and the pools, if they could just talk and tell us all the times. And I have to say, one time I was in Marsha's living room and I sat down and started tinkling on her piano, and she said, oh, you know, Leonard Bernstein, when he was here, he played the first beginnings of his score on the waterfront. And I went, oh, God. But end with something funny. Tell us about Jack Palance insisting that you had to sell his house to him.
When I began doing Broadway plays, and there wound up being 6 of them, not all 6 together, but 1, 2, 3, fairly close, we simply couldn't afford to live in New York and maintain the home in California, so we simply had to rent it. And among our tenants was Jack Palance and his wife, and when that ended and we were able to move back into our house, he wanted to buy it and had fallen in love with it. And we explained that we liked it a lot. In fact, that we had rescued a place. The only way a beginning screenwriter and a sometime screen actress could afford that place with a tennis court and a swimming pool and a barn in back and a guest house with 5 rooms and a house that was big but had to be rebuilt. How could we afford that? Because there wasn't a green leaf to be found. It had been neglected for 5 years with no watering, no care of the plants. And nobody wanted to go to all the trouble of rescuing the place, except we did. So Robert rescued the grounds and I redesigned the house. And if you do that, you belong to it. It claims you. So we couldn't dream of, so Jack Palance never forgave us.
Well, I'll tell you, anyone that can do what you've done and resist the urge of a emphatic Jack Palance is a special lady. Marsha, this is, I think, your 3rd trip here, and I hope that there's going to be many more.
You're getting to be habit forming here.
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, the incomparable Marsha Hunt. Thank you for coming.